Alright guys, it's Bill from Linden, Tennessee. It has been a few weeks, so I have quite a lot to cover. Last weekend, well, let's just say last Friday sort of and Saturday, I started working on the hood. I had bought a second hood and used it. So this is the sort of back half of the second hood, I guess, and this is my original hood here. I just kind of measured a distance, cut the back half off of that one and put it on there. The first couple tries it was too long, so I just cut a little bit more off and cut more off. To do that, to keep it straight, I just use a piece of masking tape. So you just tape a piece of masking tape all along there and maintain that line, and then just use the cutoff wheel to cut your section out. So the hoods of these Cub Cadets, it's kind of obvious maybe that they flare out towards the front. But they also, you can't tell, is that they get shorter towards the back. So they're tall up in front and they get shorter towards the back. And that's pretty crazy. I didn't know that happened. And then, no, that's not true. It's the other way around. It's taller in the back and gets shorter towards the front. Yeah, taller in the back, gets shorter towards the front. So I figured all that stuff out when I made these together. To account for the width, I just came through on the hood and cut these two notches. They look like a V now. Well, they were a V then too. But I cut those two notches back to here. And the reason I did it that way is that whenever I pull these parts in, they would sort of pivot. They would sort of hinge on this back here. And the theory was to sort of minimize the amount of distortion, so it didn't, if I'd have just cut these straight back, then I'd have had a straight and bonk. It would have, it would have been obvious what's going on here. So I didn't want that to happen. I wanted this line to be as near to the original as possible, and that kind of worked. And then to account for the fact that since this is the back half of the hood, and the hood tapers up as you go forward, this tapered up as I went forward. So I had to cut a line right there and pull this down, and had to make some triangles, some really long skinny triangles, because it's about a ½ inch, even for just a 13-14 inch piece right there. It's still about a ½ inch or so. I mean, it's a significant amount of change. So yeah, I did that. And then on this side, I didn't do quite as well getting it lined up. So for this body line right here, I didn't do quite as well on this side as I did on the other side. So I had to come in again and notch this and cut this and then pull this part down so that these would line up nice. And I haven't finished welding all this yet because I don't want to. I'm dreading it because it's just a pain in the butt. It's just like 100 little spot welds, and you got to come in, you grind it, and it inevitably warps, and you got to try and do something with that. But anyway, that's how that was done. All right. I did that a few times until it was right, and the way I figured out what was right is I just kind of turned the tractor full lock to the right, and made sure that there was room in here, and full lock to the left, made sure there was room in there. And I was all proud of myself and happy. And then I decided to turn it full turn to the right and lift the left rear tire. And when you do that, this this joint gets all in a bind. It's kind of wild. And ran into problems where this part of the hood was hitting this part of the cowl. To fix that, since I had already had all this welded, I didn't want to do that. So to fix that, you can kind of see where the... Oops, hold on. All right. So those marks right there, that's from the original hole that was for the steering column. And this is the original hole that I made for this steering column. Turns out this steering column is offset by about a ½ inch or so. And you can kind of tell by the bracketry down there that it's just sort of offset. I mean, I had this thing hanging from rafters, so it's not terribly surprising that it's not dead center, but a ½ inch is pretty good, I think. So to get the center line of this console lined up with the center line of the hood, I was going to have to redo this anyway. And since I had it off and fiberglass and epoxied these holes shut, I went ahead and shifted it over a little bit too. just so that I could get a little bit more clearance. And I mean, I shifted it over so that I could get it centered on the thing, but I also pulled it back a little bit. I pulled it back about a ½ inch or so. And with that, it still didn't clear. so then I just I took and drew myself a straight line as best as I can, and I cut off about another ½ inch off of this cowl. And there it is. That's good. Now we're clearing. Everything's great, except that on extreme right turn and with the left rear tire up as basically high as it can go before it starts hitting these stops, then I start running into a problem where this part of the frame hits up here, or so it's not, I don't think I'm ever going to get it 100% right. And that's fine, because the likelihood of me being on full right turn and hitting a 8-inch ditch, you know, it would have to be the right front, or the left front going into a hole, the right rear going into a hole, or the right front going up. Anyway, it's just not going to happen. It's pretty darn unlikely. So that's cool. I'm glad I did that. That is one less thing. Also, another thing that I did, you may notice, I had this gauge. This was sitting in the original hole where the ammeter was for the, you know, for the generator on the engine. But this, and it just happens, it's a 2-inch hole, so pretty much any gauge is going to fit. But this is the little readout for the Curtis electric vehicle motor controller, and it shows all kinds of stuff. It shows like RPM and how many amps you're using, and I can't remember what it shows, but it's also used to set some basic programming. You can set how much regen you have. You can set up a an eco mode, like an economy mode. If you're in a car, you could set it so the max amps isn't max. And anyway, there's a bunch of stuff you can do with that display. It's kind of cool, but it doesn't need to be center display. The thing that needs to be center display is this battery monitor. We talked about that before, but that's got my 48-volt battery voltage, the state of charge. It tells me my kilowatts that I am using in the kilowatt hours that I have consumed, and like I say, a little state of charge bar. So that needs to be right there, prominent for all to see. So there it is. This, I still want this, so I'm just going to put this sort of where that hole is. I think that's where the choke was or something. And then this other one, this is just a 12-volt battery meter. I'm just going to put that there for symmetry. I just had it laying around, so that's where I'm going to put it. This area is going to be consumed, obviously, with switches. There's going to be a switch for, I'm going to have a fog light in the front. I'm going to have my my winch, so there'll be a forward and reverse for the winch. I'm going to have a little knob for my I'm going to call it power takeoff. My power takeoff outlets, battery outlets, so 48-volt connectors. There's going to be a little knob that slowly puts power through those connectors to the device that's being powered, and that just keeps that device from having like an on-off switch. That's really hard on big relays to put full 48-volt motor power through a relay. It makes big sparks and arcs and all kinds of stuff. So you put a little rheostat, basically a little motor controller in that, and then that just gets the motor initially spun up, and then you flip a switch and it makes it full speed. So I did that. I also went down here, and this is the oh, what is that? That's the junction block for the motorcycle brake lines, and I was just able to drill and tap into this little cross member right there and mount that there. I've got a little fitting here, so I've got a brake line on order that'll go from there around to the back, and then it'll come up and go into my master cylinder on the other side. Okay, basically I did all of that last weekend. I didn't do anything this whole entire week. That's because if you go back several videos, you're going to find a video of where I converted a wood chipper to electric, and it uses the power takeoff of my other riding lawnmower, and it works really, really good. But so I was chopping some brush up, and I I went to go clear the chips out of the back of the machine, and it wasn't off. So I stuck my fingers in it and I tried to cut my fingers off. What a stupid bonehead thing to do. All things being equal, I think I got off pretty lucky. They're not going to have to amputate either one of my fingers. I'm going to go into the doctor this week, and I guess they're going to make the final call if they're going to amputate the tip of this one right at the knuckle, I guess, because I did break both of these bones, sort of the little bones on the tips of your fingers. It's really stupid. I feel like such an idiot. It was such a bonehead thing to do. It's kind of embarrassing, but anyway. And then today, what I did today was, so I need to figure out what I'm going to do with the bodywork. This is going to get closed in somehow. I'll probably have I don't know how I'm going to do this yet, but what I did know is that I needed to cover up my little fuses, my fuse panel here, and I got a 12-volt battery right there. So today I made this. I made this little cover for it. It's not hinged, so it's not like super easy access. It's just got, at the moment, it's just got 2 screws here and one on the other side, and that's all it holds on. And it's pretty solid just with those 2 screws there. So I don't know. And it's going to kind of tidy everything up, because any wires that come from the fuse block and go to the back, they'll just kind of go through here. This is the wires for my power steering pump, or power steering assist. So there'll be just a fuse wire harness going out this way, and yeah, so that's that. So this is pretty cool. I'm pretty happy about that. That turned out really nice. I don't know, probably forgetting stuff, but yeah. So I didn't do anything all week. It's been awful. I don't do sit down in the couch all day and do nothing. I don't do that well. It makes me very, very uncomfortable. I like to be out doing things. So today was really the first time in a week that I got out and did anything. Yeah. So all right, guys. A lot of stuff. Covered a lot of stuff. I'm sure I'll rehash all this other stuff as I continue on with this, but I wanted to get a video out there just so you know what's happening. Alrighty, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.